Hello, you are now in Section 4D, the last section of the budget module. We will now review the budget detail sheet of a fictitious organization, Ruby Red. Here is Ruby Red's completed grant budget detail sheet that is ready for submission as part of their SCDD grant application package. Let's take a look at how they completed the different sections of the budget. First, you will see that they listed each individual expense under the correct subsection of direct costs. As a reminder, there are 4 subsections under direct costs: salaries and wages, employee benefits, consultant and subcontract services, and other expenses. Let's take a look at the section where there is a blue rectangular box outlining the personnel listed under salaries and wages. Ruby Red listed 3 staff members as line items under salaries and wages. For each staff member, their functional title, percentage of time dedicated to the project, and annual salary are listed. For example, the project director was listed at 5% of her annual salary of $65,000. That comes to a total project cost of $3,250. Ruby Red is requesting $2,200 of the salary of the project director be provided by SCDD grant funds, and that they will provide $1,050 in matching funds. The total cost for the project director is $3,250. Now let's take a look at the blue rectangular box surrounding the other expenses section of their budget. Here, Ruby Red listed travel, office supplies, and equipment as their line item costs. Under travel, they are requesting mileage reimbursement. They verified that the 2020 mileage reimbursement rate for California is 57.5 cents per mile. Ruby Red is requesting $400 be provided by SCDD grant funds, and that they provide $888 of matching funds for a total project cost of $1,288. Now let's look at the blue rectangular box surrounding the row with the indirect costs. Remember, this section is not itemized. You just ask for one lump sum, and the amount is capped to 10% of the total direct costs. Ruby Red is requesting a total of $17,405 in direct costs from SCDD. They correctly calculated their 10% indirect costs of $1,705. The very last row of the grant budget detail sheet, highlighted by the blue rectangular box, is the total cost for all direct and indirect costs by funder. SCDD grant funds total $18,750, and the matching funds are $6,250. Added together, they equal $25,000, the total project cost. The last thing that Ruby Red needs to do is verify that they provided the correct amount of funds for their matching funds. As a reminder, the percentage of match depends on the total project costs and whether or not the project serves a poverty or non-poverty area. Ruby Red is serving a non-poverty community and is required to contribute a 25% match. Their match contribution of $6,250 does represent 25% of the total project cost. The Ruby Red budget is now ready to be submitted as part of their grant application package. We developed an 8-step guide that walks you through all that you need to do to create your budget. If you are uncertain how to complete any of the steps, go back and review the previous budget module sections. Let's take a look at each step. First, you will review the allowable and non-allowable costs in the RFP. Second, you will determine the match requirement by identifying in Exhibit A whether the county you will be serving is a poverty or non-poverty area. Third, you will list all direct costs in a line item list by category of expenses. Fourth, you will list all expenses by the source of funding, SCDD grant funds or matching funds. Fifth, you calculate the total direct costs. The SCDD budget detail sheet will do most calculations for you. Sixth, calculate the indirect costs at 10% of direct costs. You will need to do this manually and insert it into your budget detail sheet. Seventh, you will calculate the total project cost by adding together the requested funds from SCDD and the matching funds. Eighth, you will check that your matching funds meet your match requirement of 25 or 15%. Your budget is now ready to be submitted. This concludes the budget modules for preparing a grant application for the California State Council on Developmental Disabilities.